The afternoon chill seeped into the car as Timothy sat silently, exhausted from a grueling business meeting, his vehicle inching through the slow-moving traffic. All he craved was the comfort of home. His gaze, drifting idly out the window, snagged on a sight that instantly seized his heart. A young woman, clearly heavily pregnant, stood by the roadside, her weary figure wrapped in old, worn clothes, her hand outstretched in a silent plea. Timothy's eyes fixed on her. There was something unsettlingly familiar about her face. He looked again, harder this time, a sudden constriction in his chest. It was Charity. He hadn't laid eyes on her since the raucous night of Tundday's party mere months ago. That evening had been a blur of laughter, loud music, and flowing drinks. He recalled talking to her for hours, her effortless ability to make him laugh, her smile that had lingered in his mind long after she had slipped away before dawn. And now, here she was, alone. Heavily pregnant, shivering in the biting cold, her feet bare of proper shoes. Without a second thought, he commanded, "Stop the car!" His gaze still locked on her desolate form. The vehicle glided to a halt. Timothy didn't wait. He unlatched the door himself and stepped out, crossing the quiet stretch of pavement towards her. Charity remained oblivious, her head bowed, lost in thought, her tired face and slightly stooped back, speaking volumes of her exhaustion. As he drew near, he spoke her name softly. Charity. She flinched, a subtle tremor running through her, then slowly lifted her head. Her eyes, devoid of emotion moments before, widened perceptibly the instant they met his. A silent shock held her captive. Timothy's heart ached at the stark reality of her appearance, hollowed cheeks, cracked lips, and eyes utterly devoid of light or joy. "It's me, Timothy," he gently stated. Her gaze darted away, and she made a swift but sluggish attempt to turn, her heavy body betraying her will. "Please," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Don't talk to me like this." "What happened to you?" Timothy pressed, his tone low and concerned. She shook her head, a denial in the weary gesture. "It doesn't matter." "It does," he insisted gently. "Come with me. You can't stay out here like this." "I'm fine," she countered, her eyes still refusing to meet his. "No, you're not," he stated firmly yet softly. "Let me help you." "Why would you want to help me?" she asked, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. "Because I know you," he replied simply, "and I can't just walk away." Her gaze shifted from him to her own disheveled state, then away again. "You shouldn't be here. This is not your problem." "Perhaps not," he conceded. "But you're here, and so am I." A heavy silence descended between them. Timothy took another step closer, reiterating his plea. "Please." Finally, slowly, she gave a faint nod. He gently extended his hand, taking her arm, and began to lead her back towards his waiting car. She offered no resistance. The car door opened, and they both slipped inside. The road ahead was quiet as they drove away from the bustling street. Timothy stole glances at her now and then. She remained motionless, her hands resting protectively on her swollen belly, her face turned towards the passing scenery outside the window. She offered no words, and he, in turn, didn't press her. After what felt like a long journey, they arrived at his quiet, unassuming house. He guided her gently inside. The room he led her to was clean and simply furnished. "You can rest here," he said softly. "There's no pressure. Just relax." She sat tentatively on the edge of the bed, still largely silent. He then left, only to return moments later with a steaming bowl of food and a fresh towel. Eat something, he encouraged, and take a warm bath. You'll feel better. She nodded weakly, but made no move. Charity, he prompted gently, I'm not here to question you. I just want you to be okay. Her gaze finally lifted to meet his. You must think I'm weak. No, he said firmly. I think you're strong. She shook her head, a tired gesture. I wasn't always like this. I know, he responded gently. After that party, I went home and everything changed. Life didn't go the way I thought it would. I tried to survive. I really did. I believe you, Timothy affirmed. I didn't want to bother you, she confessed softly. I didn't even know how to reach you, and I didn't want pity. This isn't pity, he countered, his voice earnest. It's care. Her gaze fell to the food. It's been days since I ate properly, she admitted. I figured as much, he replied understandingly. That's why I want you to stay here, at least until you're better. You don't owe me anything, Timothy, she finally said. Maybe not, he agreed. But I saw you. I remembered you. That means something. Charity took a shaky breath, then slowly picked up the spoon and took a small bite. Her hands, he noticed, were still trembling, slightly. Timothy watched her in quiet contemplation. When she was halfway through the food, she paused, her gaze meeting his. You were always kind, she murmured. Even that night, you didn't treat me like just anyone. You made me laugh, and you made me feel human. He replied, That night stayed in my mind, too. I was happy that night, she whispered, a hint of sadness in her voice. I didn't know it would be the last time I felt that way for a long time. He had no immediate answer, so he simply moved to sit beside her, maintaining a comfortable silence. Minutes stretched between them. She finished the food slowly, each bite seemingly imbued with a quiet pain. When the bowl was empty, she leaned back, her eyes fixed on the blank wall. I used to have dreams, she confided, her voice distant. I wanted to work, start a small business, help my younger sister through school, but everything just fell apart. Do you want to talk about it? He asked gently. Not now, she replied. Maybe later. He nodded, understanding. You're safe here. That's all that matters for now, he reassured her. Her eyes swept around the room. This place is too big for someone like me, she muttered softly. Don't say that, he gently chided. You belong anywhere you are respected. A faint smile touched her lips. You sound like someone who's read a lot of books. Maybe, he mused. Or maybe I'm just talking from my heart. She looked at him, her expression unreadable. You don't have to do this, she stated quietly. I know, he replied, his gaze steady. But I want to. You're not scared of what people will say? She questioned. There's no one here to say anything, he pointed out gently. That's true, she conceded, her voice dropping to a fragile whisper. Thank you. You're welcome, he said, standing and moving towards the door. Rest, now. Just as he opened it, her voice stopped him. Timothy. He turned back. Yes? Thank you for seeing me, she said softly. For not pretending you didn't. How could I not see you? He asked, his voice tender. You're not someone I could forget. She looked down, falling silent once more. He gently closed the door, leaving her to her thoughts. Outside, Timothy stood in the quiet hallway, lost in thought. This was not what he had expected. Not today. Not ever. Yet, here she was, and he knew, with a certainty that settled deep within him, he couldn't walk away. Not again. Later, as Timothy sat in the garden, pondering the day's unexpected turn, his mother approached. She stopped directly in front of him, arms crossed, her expression stern and devoid of a smile. She made no move to sit, simply fixing him with a penetrating gaze. "I just went to your room," she stated, her voice flat. "And I saw a pregnant, dirty woman in there. I hope it's not what I'm thinking. I hope she's not yours." Timothy rose slowly to his feet, meeting her gaze. Outwardly, he remained calm, but beneath his composed exterior, his heart pounded a frantic rhythm. He knew, instinctively, that he did not want to tell her the truth. "No, Mom. She's not mine. I don't know her. I just met her on the street and brought her home." His mother's eyes sharpened. "Just like that? You saw a stranger on the street and brought her into your house? Into your room? What if your fiancé had seen her? What would you have said?" Timothy sighed, looking away. "Oh, Mom, please, let's not talk about Cindy now." His mother moved closer. "No, we will talk about Cindy. Do you know how upset she'll be? Do you know what she will do if she finds out about this? You must send that woman out of this house." Timothy looked at his mother and shook his head firmly. "Never! I won't! I won't send her away! You must!" she shouted. "No," he said calmly. "Mother, have you forgotten the story you always told me about how a stranger helped you and Dad when you were pregnant with me? How that man gave you a place to stay? How he let you live in his house for 1 whole year until you and Dad got your own place? Did that man know you?" His mother fell silent. She didn't say anything for a while, her gaze drifting away before she slowly sat down. Timothy waited patiently in the quiet garden. After some time, she spoke again. "Okay," she conceded. "Let her stay, but not in the guest room. Let her stay in the boys' quarters. If not, I will call your fiancé right now. And you know how upset she gets? You know what Cindy is capable of." Timothy didn't want drama. He didn't want to argue. He had no choice. "Fine," he said, resignation in his voice. "I'll tell her." His mother stood up and walked back into the house. Timothy stood there for a moment, deep in thought. Then he turned and walked towards the guest room. Charity was sitting on the edge of the bed when he entered. She looked up at him, a question in her eyes. "Is everything okay?" she asked softly. "Yeah," he said. "I just need to talk to you about something." "All right," she replied, her voice calm. Timothy sat down on the chair opposite her. "My mom came to see me. She's not comfortable with you staying in the main house. She wants you to move to the boys' quarters." Charity nodded slowly, her expression unchanged. "Okay," she said. "It's fine." Timothy watched her face carefully. "You're not upset?" Charity shook her head. "No, I'm already off the street. That's more than enough for me. I'm grateful, Timothy." He nodded, a sense of relief washing over him. "I just didn't want you to feel bad." She offered a small, gentle smile. "I don't. I understand." Timothy looked at her quietly, a newfound admiration blooming within him. "You're strong." Charity gave a weak smile. "I'm just surviving." "I'll take you there now," he said, standing up. "Okay?" They walked out together, quietly. Timothy opened the door to the boys' quarters and stepped inside. The room was small but clean, simple and functional. Charity walked in behind him, her eyes scanning the space before she nodded. "This is perfect," she said. Timothy looked at her, a hint of apology in his tone. "I'm sorry you had to move here." Charity shook her head, dismissing his concern. "No need to say sorry. You gave me a place to sleep. That means a lot." She looked tired, yet there was a new sense of peace about her. "If you need anything, just tell me," he offered. She nodded. "Thank you. I'll have food brought here and water and clothes." "You don't have to worry," he assured her. "I'm not used to this kind of kindness," she said softly, her voice barely a whisper. "Why are you helping me?" Timothy paused for a second, then answered. "Because when I saw you, something told me I shouldn't look away. I remembered that night. You were kind to me. I didn't forget." Charity looked at him, a wistful expression on her face. "That night changed everything for me." "For me, too," he said, then quickly looked away, a subtle shift in his demeanor. She lowered her eyes and rubbed her hands gently on her belly. "I never expected to see you again." "Same here," Timothy admitted. "But now that you're here, I want to make sure you're okay." Charity managed a small smile. "You're different. Most people just walk past. Even people who know me pretend they don't." Timothy sighed. "I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but for now, you're safe here. You don't have to be afraid." He looked at her again, his voice dropping slightly. "Charity," he said slowly, "can I ask you something?" She nodded. "Who is the father of your pregnancy?" She was quiet for a few seconds, then spoke. "My boyfriend. He ran away months ago after I told him I was pregnant." Timothy sighed, a wave of sympathy washing over him. "I'm sorry, that's not fair." "It's life," she said, a hint of resignation in her voice. "Some people just leave." He looked at her again, his concern evident. "Don't worry, I'll take care of you. But please try to stay away from my mother. She is very troublesome." Charity offered a small smile. "Okay, I will." Timothy stood up. "I'll leave you to rest now." "Thank you," she said again, her voice soft. He nodded and left the room. After Timothy left the boys' quarters and entered the main house, he went straight to his room. He stared at the floor for a long time, the words Charity had spoken replaying in his mind. Then he muttered to himself, "I thought the pregnancy was mine. I thought I would be a father soon, but it's all good. It's fine. I just wanted to help. That's what matters." He tried to calm down, but he wasn't happy. Something inside him felt strange, a gnawing disappointment he couldn't quite articulate. Meanwhile, Timothy's mother walked directly to the boys' quarters. Charity was sitting quietly on the bed, looking up, surprised by the sudden intrusion. Timothy's mother stepped in, standing by the door, her voice sharp and accusatory. "So, you're the one?" she said, her eyes narrowing. "Lucifer in disguise. I know my son said he just helped you, but my mind is telling me something else. I feel you and my son have something going on, or maybe something happened in the past. I can feel it. And let me tell you now, let it not be so. If I ever find out, I will so deal with you, poor, ugly, dirty girl. You better stay in this boy's quarters. Don't ever step foot in the main house. I don't want to see you there. Never." Charity sat quietly, offering no reply. The woman continued, her voice laced with venom. "My son is getting married soon. Very soon. So you better close those tiny legs and stay far away from him. If you want to live long in this house, behave yourself. The only reason I'm pitying you is because of that pregnancy. If not, you would be on the street right now where you belong." She looked around the small room one last time, her gaze filled with disdain. "Remember what I said. Don't test me." She turned abruptly and walked out, slamming the door behind her, the resounding thud echoing in the quiet room. Charity sat still, her heart pounding frantically, but no tears came. She just closed her eyes and whispered, "God, please give me strength." The next day, Timothy was in his room, his thoughts still preoccupied with Charity, checking some business files when the door opened and his fiancée, Cindy, walked in, a deep frown etched across her face. "So, this is it," she declared, her voice sharp. "You've been avoiding my calls for 2 days now. I hope it's not what I'm thinking." Timothy looked up slowly, his expression weary. "And what exactly are you thinking?" "I hope you're not seeing another woman," she stated, her gaze piercing. Timothy stood up abruptly, a flash of irritation in his eyes. "Cindy, what's on my mind right now is business, not this nonsense you're talking about." She rolled her eyes. "Whatever, baby. Anyway, tomorrow I'm going shopping for our wedding. I need 10 million naira. Timothy turned to her, fire in his eyes. 10 million for what? Do you think I pick money from trees? And besides, I haven't even fixed a wedding date yet. I haven't even proposed to you. Now you're talking about wedding shopping?" Cindy snapped back, her voice rising. "But your mother said engagement is not necessary, that you will marry me. She promised." Timothy laughed coldly, a harsh, humorless sound. "Then let my mother marry you, not me." Cindy's face flushed crimson. "What are you saying?" "I said, since you claim we've been dating, let me ask you, have I ever slept with you once?" She stammered. "No, but you kissed me." "Just once," he retorted, his voice cutting, "and it was a mistake I regret." "I don't care," she shouted, her voice shrill. "We are getting married whether you like it or not. As long as your mother permits me, that's all I need. She even signed it already." "Signed what?" Timothy demanded, his confusion evident. "A promise letter," she announced proudly. "Your mother signed and agreed that I will be your wife. And mind you, don't forget I am the daughter of the vice president, and just so you know, I'm sleeping here tonight." Timothy froze, his eyes narrowing in disbelief. "You must be joking." "Do I look like I'm joking?" she snapped, her chin held high. "You can't sleep here tonight," he said firmly, his voice low and steady. "Why not?" she barked. "Because I'm going out with friends," he lied, "and I'm not taking you with me." "Then I will wait here for you," she declared, undeterred. "And tomorrow, I'll cook your favorite food, my love. Just wait and see what your wife-to-be can do." That night, after dinner, Timothy couldn't sleep. He tossed from one side of the bed to the other, his mind a whirlwind. No matter how he turned, his eyes remained open, and his thoughts kept going back to one person: Charity. Unable to bear the restless discomfort any longer, he went straight to the boys' quarters. He stood at her door for a few seconds, contemplating, then knocked gently. "Who's there?" Her soft voice came from within. "It's me, Timothy," he replied. The door opened slowly. She stood there in a simple gown, looking a little surprised by his late-night visit. "Is everything okay?" she asked, her voice tinged with concern. "No," he said honestly, his gaze troubled. "I can't sleep. I don't know what's wrong with me." "You shouldn't be here," she said quietly, a tremor of apprehension in her tone. "Your mother warned me to stay away from you." Timothy looked up at her, his eyes burning with a sudden fierce emotion. "She what?" "She came here earlier," Charity explained, her voice low. "She warned me. She said I should never come near you. She said you're getting married soon, and I should just remain here quietly if I want to live long." Timothy became livid. She said all that to you? I can't believe this. She has no right. Please, Charity said, her hand gently touching his arm. Don't be angry. Stepping closer. Don't go to her. Don't ask her about it. I'm used to it. I don't want trouble. He looked into her eyes, and her soft voice and peaceful demeanor calmed him a little. Fine, he said. I won't talk to her. Not because I'm scared, but for the baby's sake. I don't want stress around you. She smiled faintly and nodded. Thank you. He sat back down, his gaze still fixed on her. How's the baby doing? He asked gently. She rubbed her belly gently. He's fine. So, it's a boy, he said, a genuine smile spreading across his face. Wow, that's great. Don't worry, I'll help you find the father. She shook her head. No, please, don't bother. I'll be fine. You're already taking care of us. That's more than enough. I know, he insisted, but he still needs a father's love. Even if I'm taking care of you, he deserves that. She looked at him, visibly touched. Thanks, sir. Timothy frowned playfully. You're naughty. Don't ever call me that. She laughed softly. Okay, Sir Timothy. He pointed a finger at her. You're really silly, you know that? She chuckled. I've been told that before. By who? He asked playfully. My sister, she said, and her face suddenly changed. The smile faded, replaced by a shadow. Your sister, he echoed, his voice softening. Where is she now? Charity looked down, her voice dropping to a whisper. She died 4 months ago. Timothy's face turned serious, a heavy feeling settling in his chest. Oh my God, what happened? Charity's voice was slow, laced with a quiet sorrow. She was sick. I tried everything. We didn't have money, no help, no drugs. I begged, I cried, I sold all I had, but it wasn't enough. She died in my arms. Timothy remained silent, his chest heavy with empathy. Charity, I'm so sorry. It's okay, she said, her voice surprisingly steady. I've cried enough. I've accepted it. I just try to move on. You shouldn't have gone through that, he stated, his voice filled with genuine pain. No one should, she agreed. But I did, and I survived. I just keep waking up each day and thanking God. That's all I can do now. Timothy looked at her for a long time, his gaze filled with admiration. You're stronger than you think. You've been through so much. And you're still standing. She nodded, a faint light returning to her eyes. Because of people like you. If I didn't see you that day, I don't know what would have happened to me. And if I hadn't looked out that window, he reciprocated, his voice soft, I would have missed the chance to meet the most amazing woman I've ever known. She smiled shyly. You're just saying that. I mean it. She looked at him quietly, then whispered, So why can't you sleep? He smiled, a new boldness in his eyes. Because I think I'm falling in love with you. Charity's eyes widened, a mixture of shock and something else flickering within them. She didn't speak immediately. Please don't say that, she finally managed. Why not? He pressed gently. Because it's too much. Too soon. I don't want problems. I don't want to come between you and your life. You're not, he said, stepping closer. You're just walking beside me. That's all. But your mother, your fiancé, I don't care, he interrupted quickly, his voice firm. I only care about what I feel, and right now I feel something real, something I can't hide. Charity was quiet, overwhelmed. She didn't know what to say. Timothy stood. I should go, he said, a playful light in his eyes, before your troublemaker, sir, gets into trouble. She laughed a little, a genuine, joyful sound. "Thank you for coming," he smiled. "You're welcome. And Charity." He paused, meeting her gaze once more before simply concluding, "I'm here. Always." She nodded, a gentle understanding in her eyes. "I know." He walked to the door, opened it, then looked back at her. "Get some sleep." "You too," she replied softly. He winked, a playful glint in his eye, and stepped out. Charity sat back on the bed, holding her belly gently. "Did you hear that?" she whispered to her unborn son. "Your Uncle Timothy just said he loves us." She smiled, her eyes brimming with emotion. For the first time in a long time, her heart felt safe. The next day, Timothy walked into the dining room after a long call with a business partner. Cindy stood by the table, beaming widely, her makeup bright and her dress shining. "Surprise, baby," she announced proudly. "I made lunch for you with my own hands." Timothy sat down and looked at the plate. The food looked colorful, but the overwhelming smell of too much pepper hit his nose first. He took one spoon and forced himself to chew. The second bite made him choke. He reached for water quickly, coughing. "That's it," he said, standing up, his voice sharp with exasperation. "I knew it. You can't do anything. You are so spoiled, Cindy. You can't cook, you can't clean, nothing." Cindy's smile dropped immediately, her face falling. "I tried. Okay. I tried to make you happy. I cooked for you, but you don't appreciate me." "Appreciate what?" Timothy snapped, gesturing dismissively at the plate. This mess? You should be lucky that the daughter of the vice president is cooking for you." "What a privilege, right?" she shot back. "Yeah, right," Timothy scoffed. "Please take this nonsense to your father's house and serve him, but don't bring this to me. In fact, don't ever come back here. I'm done with all this rubbish. Get your bags and leave." Cindy became incandescent with rage. "Whatever. Who do you think you are? Just a local boy with a little money in his pocket." Timothy stepped forward, his voice cutting like a knife. "Yet, you're dying to have this little boy, right? You call me local, but you won't stop chasing me. Just look at your mouth, smelling and lying. Before I return, be gone from this house forever." He turned abruptly and walked out, fuming. Inside, Cindy's eyes burned with fury. Just then, Timothy's mother walked in and saw her pacing agitatedly. "What happened?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. "Cindy, I didn't hesitate." She poured out everything. "Your son just insulted me. He said my food was trash, told me I'm spoiled, and asked me to leave this house." Timothy's mother sighed and sat down, a calculated calm about her. "Don't worry," she said. "He must marry you. He doesn't understand what he wants. I'll help you." "How, Mother?" Cindy asked, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "He said I can't cook, that I'm useless. Then I'll teach you. You can also watch videos on YouTube. You'll learn. Everything is online now." Cindy looked embarrassed, her pride taking a hit. "Mother, I watched YouTube videos to make the food today." Timothy's mother shook her head, a faint knowing look in her eyes. "I tasted that food in the kitchen. I must be honest. It wasn't good at all." Cindy looked down, deflated. "I'll improve. Please teach me. I love your son so much. I just want to be perfect for him." Then she added, her voice dropping to a whisper of complaint, "Can you believe that since I came here, he hasn't even touched me? In fact, since we started this so-called relationship, he has not done anything, Not even once. Timothy's mother looked utterly surprised, a deep crease forming between her brows. "What?" Timothy's mother exclaimed, her voice sharp with surprise. "So that witch has succeeded?" Cindy looked confused. "Who? What witch?" Timothy's mother paused for a moment, then stepped closer and lowered her voice. "There's a girl. Her name is Charity. She's pregnant. Timothy brought her here. He says he's helping her, but I don't trust her one bit." Cindy's face transformed, her jaw dropping. "What? And you didn't tell me? You let a village girl sleep in this house with my man? Oh no, this can't happen." "Calm down," Timothy's mother interjected. "The pregnancy is not for my son. God forbid. But that girl is smart, too quiet. I don't trust her either." Cindy's voice was sharp, laced with venom. "I don't care whose pregnancy it is. She must leave now. Nobody is taking Timothy away from me, not her, not anyone." "Good," Timothy's mother said, a knowing gleam in her eyes. "Then go. Go to the boys' quarters now. Do what you have to do. Fight for your man. I'll be right here waiting." Cindy stormed towards the back of the house, fire burning in her eyes. Cindy stormed into the boys' quarters like a lioness, not even bothering to knock. She just stood tall, glaring at Charity. "Pack your things and leave now," Cindy shouted. "Excuse." "Me?" Charity said, confused and startled. "You heard me," Cindy snapped. "Get out. You think you can steal my man by acting humble and pregnant? You must be mad. Get out of this house now." "But I didn't do anything," Charity pleaded, her voice trembling. "Exactly," Cindy said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "That's your trick. Pretend to be innocent. I'm not fooled. I'm giving you 5 minutes or I will drag you out myself." Charity looked around the small room, her hands shaking uncontrollably. "Please don't do this." "Oh, I will," Cindy said, her tone cold and menacing. "Your time starts now." Charity had no strength to fight back. Her body was tired, her spirit weary. She picked up her small bag and slowly walked out, tears welling in her eyes and silently tracing paths down her cheeks. An hour later, Timothy returned home. He walked straight to the boys' quarters. He opened the door. It was empty. The bed was bare, her small bag gone. His heart sank, a cold dread washing over him. "Charity?" he called out, his voice echoing in the vacant room. No answer. He rushed outside and saw one of the security guards standing near the gate. "Where's the pregnant lady that was staying here?" he demanded, his voice strained. The man looked nervous, fidgeting. "Sir, Madam Cindy chased her out." "What?" Timothy shouted, his anger flaring. "You stood there and let that happen." The guard shook his head quickly, his eyes wide. "Sir, I tried, but she's the daughter of the vice president. I was scared. I didn't want trouble." "You must be stupid," Timothy barked, his fury uncontained. "Did she employ you? Or did I? You answer to me. Next time you allow this nonsense, you'll lose your job. Do you understand me?" "Yes, sir. Sorry, sir," the security man stammered quickly. Without another word, Timothy marched into the house, heading straight for his mother's room. He didn't knock. He entered, his face contorted with anger. "She's gone," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "Charity is gone. Cindy chased her out, and you let this happen." His mother stood calmly, unperturbed. "Yes, and I support her. That poor girl is a witch and a gold digger. She was using her pregnancy to get close to you." "That's a lie," Timothy snapped, his patience worn thin. "You don't even know her." "And I don't want to," his mother retorted, her voice firm. You are a billionaire. You don't need a street girl with a fatherless child messing up your name. You've gone too far, Timothy said, his voice laced with fury. You had no right. I'm your mother, she replied, her chin raised defiantly. I will always do what is best for you. You're wrong, he said firmly, his voice steady despite his rage. What you did today wasn't love. It was wickedness. He turned around and walked out angrily. That same evening, Timothy drove around the streets for hours, relentlessly searching for Charity. He didn't stop until he finally saw her sitting alone by a small kiosk, clutching her bag close. She looked lost, tired, and utterly broken. He parked quickly and ran to her. Charity! She looked up, surprised, her eyes wide. Timothy? Why did you leave without telling me? He asked, his voice gentle despite his earlier frustration. I had no choice, she whispered, her voice frail. Your fiancée came. She chased me out. I didn't want any trouble. You should have waited for me, he said gently, reaching for her hand. You should have trusted me. She nodded slowly, tears welling up again. I'm sorry. Come, he said, helping her up, his touch comforting. I'll take you to one of my other apartments. You'll stay there. It's quiet, safe, and peaceful. You can rest there. I'll sort everything out. Are you sure? She asked, her voice tinged with disbelief. I'm very sure, he replied, his gaze firm and reassuring. He drove her to a beautiful private apartment. The place was simple, but elegantly furnished, exuding a sense of calm. He showed her the bedroom. Stay here as long as you want. No one will disturb you here. Charity sat on the bed, her eyes brimming with emotion. Thank you, she said, her voice choked. I don't know how to thank you. My God will reward you. Timothy sat beside her. It's nothing. I just want you and the baby to be okay. She was quiet for a moment, gathering her thoughts. Then she looked at him, her gaze unwavering. Timothy, there's something I've been keeping from you. He turned to her, curious, a hint of trepidation in his expression. What is it? She took a deep breath, steeling herself. You're the father of my unborn child. He blinked, a slow, disbelieving, what? Escaping his lips. Yes, she confirmed, her voice barely audible. I lied to you before. I said my boyfriend ran away, but that's not true. There was no boyfriend. That night, at Tundday's party, it was you. I got pregnant from that one night with you. Timothy's heart stopped for a second, then began to pound furiously. He just stared at her, a whirlwind of emotions swirling within him. Why didn't you tell me? She looked down, tears finally spilling over. I was scared. When your mother came and threatened me, I panicked. I didn't want to bring more trouble to myself, so I kept it to myself. But now that we no longer stay in the same house, I feel free to tell you. You have been so good to me. You didn't even know the baby was yours. Yet you cared for us like family. I am so sorry for keeping this from you. Timothy was quiet for a long moment, processing her words. Then, slowly, a smile spread across his face, radiating warmth and pure joy. It's okay, Charity. I understand. I'm not angry. Honestly, I knew the child was mine. Something inside me just told me. But I didn't want to push you. I wanted you to tell me when you were ready. She looked at him, shocked, her eyes wide. You knew? Yes, he said, his smile widening. And I'm glad you finally said it. I'm so happy right now. You don't understand. I can't wait for him to be born." He held her hands gently, his touch firm and loving. "Baby, we are going shopping tomorrow. We're going to buy everything this little prince needs. I'm going to spoil you both." Charity laughed, tears of joy streaming down her face. "Thank you, Timothy." "No." He smiled, his eyes twinkling. "Thank you, Charity, for carrying my child and for walking into my life." Again. They both sat quietly, smiles on their faces, hearts full of hope. A new chapter had begun. Later that night, after making sure Charity was settled safely in the new apartment, Timothy returned home. He was calm, but his heart was firm with resolve. As soon as he stepped into the house, he found Cindy sitting in the living room, legs crossed, scrolling through her phone as if she owned the place. Without a word, he walked to the middle of the room and faced her. "Get out," he said, his voice low and steady. Cindy slowly raised her head, her eyes narrowing. "What did you just say?" "I said, pack your things and leave my house tonight." She stood up quickly, her face paling slightly. "Are you serious right now?" "Very serious," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "Your drama ends today." "So you're throwing me out because of that village girl?" she snapped, her voice rising. "Because of a pregnant street girl?" "This has nothing to do with her," Timothy stated, his tone firm. "This is about you. You disrespected someone under my roof. You had no right, and now you have no place here. You will regret this," she shouted, her eyes blazing. "Do you even know who I am?" "Yes," he said calmly, "and I don't care." She stormed out, slamming the door behind her with a resounding bang. A few minutes later, his mother came rushing down the stairs, fuming with indignation. "What have you done, Timothy? You just ruined everything." "I did the right thing," he replied firmly, meeting her angry gaze. "No, you did the stupid thing," she retorted. "Do you know her father promised to give me a strong political position in the Senate office? He said once you marry her, everything will be ready, and now you chased her out. How wicked can you be?" Timothy looked straight at her, his voice devoid of emotion. "So you wanted to use me to get power?" "I was doing it for this family," she shouted, her voice trembling with frustration. "Everything I do is for you." "Really? For me?" he asked, a bitter edge to his voice. "Did you ever ask me what I wanted?" "You will regret this, Timothy," she hissed, breathing fast, her face contorted with anger. "Believe me, you'll come back begging." "I'll never beg for what I don't want," he stated, his resolve unshakable. "And I will never marry someone I don't love. That's final." His mother turned away, defeated and bitter. Timothy stood quietly, his heart strong, his mind finally made up. The next morning, Timothy picked up breakfast and drove to the apartment where Charity was staying. He brought a carton of pap and a selection of fresh fruits. She smiled warmly when she saw him. "Good morning," she said gently. "Good morning." He smiled back, placing the food on the small table. "I brought food." They sat down to eat quietly, enjoying the peaceful start to their day. After the meal, Timothy looked at her belly and smiled playfully. "So, baby boy," he said, "today is shopping day. We're buying everything you need." Charity laughed, a genuine happy sound. "You're already spoiling us." "You deserve it," he said, his voice tender. Then his face turned serious, the playful mood fading. "There's something else I want us to do today." "What is it?" she asked, a hint of curiosity in her tone. "We're going to see my mom," he announced. Her smile instantly dropped, replaced by a look of apprehension. Timothy? No, please. I don't want more insults. She hates me. She doesn't hate you, he reassured her gently, taking her hand. She's just scared. But I'll be with you. Trust me. After a long pause, Charity slowly nodded, a quiet determination settling over her. Okay. I'll go for the baby's sake. That afternoon, Timothy took her to the main house. They entered the sitting room together. His mother, who was already there, looked up, her eyes widening in disbelief. Mother was seated. The moment she saw Charity, her face hardened into a frown. What is she doing here again? Mom, calm down, Timothy said, stepping forward. There's something you need to know. His mother stood up, an air of defiance about her. I don't want to hear it. The baby she's carrying is mine, Timothy stated firmly, his voice cutting through the tension. Silence descended, heavy and absolute. His mother froze, her eyes wide with shock. What? Yes, he confirmed. We met months ago at Tun's party. We had one night together. I didn't know she got pregnant until I saw her again on the street. She didn't tell me at first because she was scared, but now you know. His mother slowly sank back into her seat, her eyes still wide, fixed on Charity. She remained quiet for a long moment, processing the revelation. Then a faint, disbelieving whisper escaped her lips. So I'm going to be a grandmother. Yes, Mom, Timothy said, a gentle smile on his face. You've always told me how you couldn't wait to carry your grandchild. Well, here he is. His mother's gaze shifted to Charity. She stood there quietly, holding her belly, head down, a picture of quiet humility. Then, something changed in his mother's face. Her eyes blinked rapidly, and her voice softened, losing all its previous harshness. Come, sit beside me, my dear. Charity looked up, confused by the sudden change in tone. Timothy gave her a small, encouraging nod. She slowly walked over and sat down beside Timothy's mother. His mother reached out and touched Charity's belly gently, a look of awe on her face. A baby, she whispered, tears filling her eyes. My grandchild. Her voice trembled with emotion. I've prayed for this moment. I never thought it would come like this, but God works in strange ways. I'm sorry if I've ever disrespected you, Charity said quietly, her voice barely audible. I was just trying to survive. Timothy's mother held her hand, a genuine warmth in her grip. No, I'm sorry. I was harsh. I didn't know. But now you're part of this family, and I will take care of you. Timothy smiled, a profound sense of relief washing over him. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. His mother then looked at him, her eyes twinkling, with a new purpose. Take her shopping. She needs everything. Don't forget baby cream and wipes, and don't buy cheap things, okay? Yes, Mom, he laughed, his heart soaring. Charity sat still, her heart finally resting, a wave of peace enveloping her. The next morning, Timothy and Charity went shopping. They visited the biggest baby store in town. Timothy pushed the shopping cart, a happy grin on his face, while Charity picked out tiny baby clothes, bottles, soft toys, miniature shoes, and comforting blankets. He followed her, adding extra items she hadn't even thought to ask for. Timothy, I didn't say we need this, Charity laughed, holding up a fancy baby bed. We do, he replied firmly, his eyes twinkling. My son deserves the best. By the time they finished, the cart was overflowing with an abundance of baby essentials and luxurious extras. Charity looked around in awe, a sense of wonder in her eyes. I still can't believe this is happening. Timothy smiled, his gaze tender. "Believe it. You're mine now. Both of you." The next day, Timothy resumed work at his new office. It was a fresh company he had just opened, a media and branding firm, and everything was still coming together. While checking documents in his office, one of his staff knocked and walked in. "Sir, someone is here for the secretary job. Should we let her in?" Timothy nodded. "Yes, please." The door opened and a woman walked in. The moment Timothy looked up, he froze. His mouth dropped slightly in disbelief. It was Cindy. She also stopped dead in her tracks, her eyes wide with shock. There was silence for a few seconds as they stared at each other. Then she burst into tears. "Please don't send me away," she pleaded, her voice choked with emotion. "I'm not here to fight. I just need help." Timothy stood, his expression unreadable, processing the unexpected turn of events. Slowly. "What are you doing here?" She sniffed. "I came to apply for the secretary job. I had no idea this is your company. I didn't know you owned this place." "You?" he asked, a hint of disbelief in his voice. "Looking for a job?" "Yes," she said, wiping her face with the back of her hand. "I've been living a fake life. My father is not a vice president. He's a retired teacher. I was just trying to survive. So I lied. I rented cars, borrowed clothes, and bags from friends. I didn't have anything. I just wanted to feel important." Timothy was shocked, taking in her confession. "So all those shoes, all those designer dresses—" "All borrowed," she said, her voice filled with shame. "Sometimes rented. I'm tired of faking. I just want to live real. I want to work hard, and maybe God will give me a good man like you one day. A real man who is kind, handsome, and has a good heart." Timothy looked at her quietly for a moment, the weight of her confession settling over him. "Cindy, I'm not angry at you anymore, but I'm still shocked. You lied to everyone. You tried to force love. You tried to destroy someone innocent. I don't hate you, but I can't trust you." She nodded slowly, looking down at her feet. "I understand. I can't give you this job," he said gently, his voice softening slightly. "But I can give you something else." She looked up quickly, a flicker of hope in her tear-filled eyes. "What?" "I'll give you some money," he said. "Start a small business. Maybe this is your second chance. Use it well." Her eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were tears of gratitude. "Thank you, Timothy. Thank you so much." He reached into the drawer, brought out a check, and signed it, his movements deliberate. "Don't waste it, and don't lie to people again. Live your truth." "I will," she said, clutching the check like a precious treasure. "I promise." Timothy gave a small nod. She turned and walked out quietly, without a single shout or dramatic exit. For the first time, she left with humility. That evening, Timothy returned home from work feeling lighter, a sense of quiet satisfaction within him. As soon as he entered the apartment, he found Charity in the living room reading a book. "Hey," he said with a smile. "Guess who came to my office today?" Charity looked up, curious. "Who?" "Cindy." "What?" she asked, surprised, her book lowering. "What did she want?" "A job," he said, sitting down beside her. "She said her father was never the vice president. Everything about her life was fake. Borrowed clothes, rented cars. She was crying Charity, begging. I was shocked." "Wow," Charity said, her eyes wide with astonishment. "So what did you do?" "I didn't give her the job," he replied, "but I gave her money to start something small. I just felt maybe she deserves a second chance, too." Charity smiled gently, a warmth in her gaze. You have a good heart, Timothy. That's one of the things I love about you. She paused, then looked serious. There's something I want to show you. What is it? He asked, intrigued. Don't worry, she said, standing up, a mischievous, glint in her eyes. I'll take you there tomorrow. The next morning, Charity dressed up nicely, her excitement palpable, and told Timothy to follow her. They entered the car and drove for about 30 minutes until they reached a big, beautiful mansion. Timothy was confused, looking from the impressive house to Charity. Honey, where are we? Hope you're not selling me to someone, he joked, a nervous laugh escaping him. Charity just laughed mysteriously. You'll see. They stepped into the huge living room. Gold curtains, shining polished floors, and elegant art adorned the walls. Timothy was still looking around in awe when a wealthy-looking couple walked out to greet them. Charity smiled and turned to Timothy, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Timothy, meet my parents. Timothy froze, his mind reeling. Wait, your parents? Yes, Charity said, her voice soft but clear. My real parents. I thought you said, he began, a bewildered expression on his face. She gently cut him off. I know. I lied. And I'm sorry, but I needed to be sure. I needed to find love that wasn't based on status or money. That's why I went to that party that night dressed like a common girl. I didn't expect anything to happen. Definitely not to get pregnant. But then something did happen. And I met you. Timothy was in complete shock. So you're rich. Charity's mother stepped forward, her voice kind. Our daughter wanted something real. She was tired of fake friends and men who came just for our name. So we allowed her to go and see the world on her own terms. Charity looked at him again, her gaze earnest. When I found out I was pregnant, I wanted to get rid of it. I was scared. I thought it would ruin everything. But when I told my mom, she said no. She said she would not let that happen. She reminded me that the baby didn't ask to be born, and that maybe this was part of God's plan. Timothy's mind was blown. So all this time, you were the rich one. I never wanted your money, she said gently, stepping closer. I wanted your heart, and I got it. Honestly, I feel like the luckiest girl alive. Timothy smiled slowly, a wide, joyful grin spreading across his face. And I feel like the biggest fool, he said, then laughed, a genuine booming sound. I was trying to spoil you, not knowing you can buy 10 of me. They all laughed together, the tension of the revelation dissolving into warmth. Charity walked over, took his hands, and whispered, her eyes shining, But I don't want 10 of you. I just want one. The real one. You. Timothy looked into her eyes, his heart overflowing. You already have me. 2 weeks later, Timothy and Charity got married. It was a beautiful private wedding filled with love and peace. After the wedding, they moved into a new house together, a place that was peaceful and warm, a true home. They spent their days preparing for the baby, setting up the nursery, folding tiny clothes, and laughing over baby name ideas. A month later, Charity gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Their hearts were full, overflowing with joy. They named him Daniel, which means, God is my judge. Back at home, their lives began again with love, laughter, late-night feedings, and tiny baby socks scattered everywhere. Timothy looked at Charity one night while she cradled their sleeping baby. If someone told me that night at the party I'd meet my wife and my future, I would have laughed. Charity smiled, her eyes soft with affection. And if someone told me the man who gave me his jacket that night would become the father of my child, I would have never believed it. But here they were, a billionaire, a once broken girl, and a baby boy who brought their worlds together. Not perfect, but real. Not expected, but blessed.